I told you about being at that party in Malibu. Now, this show brings up more memories for Pelvis than you can ever imagine. You know, I take a walk down memory lane. I'll say something on this show, and it'll start the thought process. And I go, damn, well, that happened then, and you know, I had some pretty funny things happen to me. Well, I got to thinking about that Phil Rose, and he was a funny guy. He had a video production company, and he was a pudgy guy. He was English as he could be, and he was, you know, he wasn't. He was just pudgy, you know. He's a pudgy little whiter than white English guy. Sometimes he was funny, and sometimes you just wanted to smack him. You know what I'm saying there? Well, this was in the early '80s, and I was in LA, and a guy that set him up in business, a guy by the name of Steven, had bought this ranch out in Arizona. And if you look on Ronnie Wood's Give Me Some Neck album, he's sitting on a camel. Well, that camel's on that ranch out there. Well, me and a couple other guys went out there in 1973 when he bought this place. And it had an 18-room Victorian-style hotel on it, had a natural hot springs, and I was told that there was something like 1 million gallons of 120-degree water came up out of the ground every day out there, and it's probably still doing it to this day. And it had a swimming pool out there that was 90 feet wide, 300 feet long. Beautiful place. There's the original site that Stephen bought was 200 acres, and with that hotel on it, the hot springs, everything else, 1973, he paid $175,000 for it. I'd hate to think what it's worth today, but anyhow, we were going out there for this shoot of some sort or another, and so we took a commercial flight out of L.A. to Tucson, and it was Stephen, his dad, the head of security for the Rolling Stones at that time. I can't think of this guy's name. Huge guy, big guy. But he was with us. And then there's Phil Rose and me. And I think that was it. I'm not sure. But anyhow, we flew into Tucson. Well, the ranch is on about 100 and some odd miles away from there, in a town called Safford, just outside of Safford, and it's a tiny little town called Eden is where the ranch is. It's about 14 miles outside of Safford, Arizona. So chartered an airplane, come in and pick us up. Now, we'd been out there quite a bit. There was a guy out there. I mean, this was a cowboy. This was a man's man, man. He was like John Wayne's twin brother, man. This guy, he didn't break crap out of anybody. He was just so basic, it was unbelievable. Hell of a pilot. And believe it or not, old Pelvis here, I've got my pilot's license too. So we got to Tucson, and we roll over to the executive airport, and we all pile out of this car. And Gary looked at us, and he said, holy Jesus, he says, we're going to be grossly overweight. And I volunteered. I said, well, you know, to help out if that much overweight, I said, I'll rent a car and I'll drive out there. And he goes, no, let me figure this out. So he started placing people in the airplane. And he took that big guy and he put him in the center in the back, and I was going to fly up the co-pilot seat. And that's on the right side of the plane. The pilot sits on the left, co-pilot on the right. And so he put the big guy in the center, and there was 3 rows of seats. He put the big guy in the center in the second row, and then he was on the right wing, and he walked down that wing. I don't want to make this confusing, but I got to set this up. He was up on the right wing by my seat where I was going to sit, and he walked down the wing, and as he was walking down the wing, he said, Phil, get in over here. And then he walked by and he opened up this little compartment, which was a luggage compartment. And he walked around the tail of the airplane and went up the left wing and opened the door there for Phil to get in on that. And all of a sudden he said, Phil, where the hell are you? And everybody's looking around, where the hell Phil go? And I walked over and I heard this muffled, I'm in here, I'm in here. I walked over and he was inside that luggage compartment. And Gary walked around and I'll clean it up a little bit, but he said, what in the hell are you doing in there? He said, well, you said get in. He said, I'm in on the other side. But anyhow, we got all situated and we got out the ranch and all that, but damn Bill. And then Stephen had this damn German Shepherd, and he had somebody crate that German Shepherd up. That German Shepherd was out the ranch, and he just paid something like $1,000 for this dog to get trained. And so he had somebody drive that dog to the airport, and Phil and I, when we were going to go back, we were going to handle that dog, put that dog on a flight back and fly back with us on a commercial flight to L.A., which we did. And we get to L.A., and we hired a car, and we put that damn dog in the car, and we drove. And there was a whole fleet of cars for us to choose from, and it was hot, and it was getting dark, and we were hungry. And Phil said, "Let's take the Volkswagen thing." And there was this little yellow Volkswagen thing, had the top taken off of it, so it was like a convertible. So we piled that dog in that thing, and he said, let's drop Boss. That was the dog's name, Boss. He said, let's drop Boss at my apartment. He had these 3 girls that were roommates. And so that's what we did. We took Boss. He said, let's go down the Hard Rock and get something to eat. So he wrote his roommates a note. I'm at the Hard Rock. And so we're in there and we're eating. All of a sudden, one of these girls come running in. She says, Phil, we got home, we opened the door, and the dog ran out. Phil said, oh my God, no. So we jump up and take care of the bill and everything. We run out and jump in that Volkswagen thing. Now, the Hard Rock in LA is around Santa Monica, and it's a predominantly gay area up there. So that's where that dog was losing. He was in that area somewhere. So we're driving around, we're driving down all these streets and everything, and this pudgy English guy was standing up. I was driving, he was standing up, and he's yelling, Boss. And we go up and down streets, and I mean, we went down this one street, and he's standing up, and he's going, Boss. And I swear to God, God is my witness, I don't know where this guy was heading to or where he was coming from, but this guy rolled out of this alley, and he had on black leather pants. He had with no shirt, with suspenders, and he had like this Marlon Brando black motorcycle hat on. He said, I'll be your boss. Pull over. I'll be your boss. I said, Phil, sit your pudgy ass down. Let's get out of here.